welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're embarking on a journey that looks at two fundamentally different forms of optimization.
Right.
On one side, we have precise, millimeter-level engineering needed to make machines perform flawlessly.
And on the other, the messy, statistical, and often intuitive shortcuts our own brains use for high-stakes decisions. When, perfection just isn't an option.
That's the core tension here, isn't it?
It is. Our mission is to synthesize a stack of sources that takes us from the hyper-engineered world of pro gaming gear all the way into advanced neuroscience and decision theory.
So we're talking about things like the famous 37% rule.
Exactly. And even the mystery of why so many people pick the number 7. We want to understand where human efficiency and machine efficiency align, and maybe more importantly, where the human mind actually chooses imperfection to get a better outcome.
It's a remarkable stack. We start with sources detailing the exact friction of a mouse pad, and we end with research on why controlled overconfidence, a kind of functional delusion, is actually a superior cognitive strategy. So let's unpack that pursuit of perfection first. If you're serious about competitive gaming, the journey toward technological control often starts in, the most frustrating place, the software. Our sources highlight this persistent pain point in Windows 11, where enhanced pointer precision keeps turning itself back on after a reboot.
Which, for a non-gamer, that sounds like a good thing, right? Precision enhancement.
Of course.
But for a pro, it is absolutely ruinous. That setting introduces acceleration, it changes your mouse sensitivity based on how fast you move the mouse.
And your muscle memory is just gone.
It's poison. You need a perfect one-to-one translation from your hand to the cursor, period, regardless of speed.
And what's wild is the length people have to go to just to kill that one variable. The troubleshooting is almost
comical,
right? We're seeing things like updating device drivers, performing a clean boot, even creating a whole new user account just because one config file might be damaged.
You're literally fighting your own operating system just to get to a neutral, stable state.
Right. And once you have that, the focus shifts to hardware.
Completely. Gamers demand maxed out processing power, but the real art of optimization is in the peripherals, the physical interface. And this is where pros actively disable features most people would think are helpful.
Like what, specifically?
Well, take angle snapping. It's a software feature in some mice that basically smooths out the tiny jitters in your hand movement.
So it helps you draw a straight line.
Exactly, it's an assist. But professionals see that assistance as interference. They want the raw, unfiltered data from their hand movement. Disabling it gives them that perfect one-to-one control they need for tiny, pixel-perfect adjustments.
So optimization in this case is literally removing the system's attempt to help.
It's about ensuring the human has total sovereignty over the action.
And the tools themselves are built for this. We're talking about these ultra-lightweight mice, like the Asus ROG Harp Ace Mini, weighing just 49 grams.
The weight is so critical, it minimizes the inertia you need to start and stop a movement. And this all relies on incredible sensors too, like the 36K DPI aim-point sensor, the PAW 3950 Ampex. They can track the tiniest movements with near-perfect reliability.
That's where the deep, really nuanced optimization comes in. It's not just a surface, it's about controlling friction.
Yes, you have choices from cloth to hard plastic to low-friction glass like the Razer Atlas, and that choice dictates everything, speed versus control.
You mean some pros want more friction?
Absolutely. Some might pick, say, the ZOI TR series, which is known for higher friction, more lock-in. It helps them execute these quick stops and control spray patterns.
The others would go the opposite way.
Right. They might choose the TFX series, which offers a much faster glide for rapid movements across the screen. You are literally tailoring the physics of friction to your playstyle.
And then just as a fascinating detail from the sources, you have pads like the Razer Firefly V2 Pro. It's the first hard surface pad with RGB backlighting, but it's engineered so the lights don't interfere with the optical sensor.
The pursuit of perfection is just exhaustive. It's down to the texture and the light bouncing off the pad.
Okay, so we've engineered near-perfect physical control over the machine. But the moment we step away from that and face the world's real complexity, imperfect information, irreversible choices, the rules of optimization just completely change.
This is where we hit the human mind and that fundamental trade-off. Explore versus exploit.
Right. Do you keep looking for more options, gathering data, but maybe missing your chance?
Or do you stop and exploit the best thing you've found so far and risk settling for something less than the best?
And the mathematical solution to this is it's brilliant. the 37% rule?
It's derived from optimal stopping theory, often called the secretary problem. You're trying to hire the best candidate from a known number of people. You interview them one by one, and once you say no, they're gone forever.
And the math, based on this 1/E threshold, says you maximize your chance of picking the absolute best one by rejecting the first 37%.
You use that first 37% purely as a calibration benchmark. You gather data, you see what the field looks like, you set a high watermark, then you select the very next option that is better than every single one you saw in that first group.
Wait, I have to pause you there. Rejecting the first 37%, even if one of them seems amazing. That feels so counterintuitive.
It does, but it's essential, because without that benchmark, you have no context. If you take the first person who seems good, you might be settling for a 50th percentile candidate because you haven't seen the whole range.
So that 37% phase protects you from committing too early.
It inoculates you against early commitment bias. It forces you to explore just enough to recognize true excellence when you see it. It's a calculated sacrifice.
And our sources show this isn't just theory, it's almost baked into human behavior.
Absolutely. Think evolutionarily. Prehistoric foraging, deciding when to leave a patch of berries that's running low, that's a classic optimal stopping problem. You stay just long enough to know if this patch is better than the average patch you've seen, and then you commit or you move on.
And we've even institutionalized it.
We have. Think about historical apprenticeships. The whole journeyman phase was about exploring different masters and techniques. That's your 37% before settling down to become a master yourself.
And today,
It's everywhere. The way we swipe through dating apps is a sequential sampling problem. Our behavior on them actually approximates this rule. Even AI hiring software now explicitly uses the 37% rule to screen initial candidates before it flags one for a human to review.
the precision is just stunning. For a pool of 100 options, rejecting the first 37 gives you a success rate of about 36.97%. It's an incredible statistical shortcut our minds can use to navigate uncertainty. Okay, now let's go to an even more spontaneous choice. No calculations, no constraints. If I were to ask you, listening right now, pick the first number that comes to mind between 1 and 10, what would you pick?
Chances are you pick 7.
A lot of you did. Our sources found that when people were asked to do just that, 7 dominated the responses. It captured 28.4% of all the choices.
We think we're being random, but we fall into these predictable patterns.
So why 7? Why is that preference so strong?
Well, it's often seen as the most random number. It's less common in daily life. We don't see things in groups of 7 as much as, say, 5s or 10s.
And it has this unique mathematical and cultural weight?
Exactly. It's a prime number, which feels special. And in Western culture, it's everywhere. 7 days a week, 7 deadly sins, the idea of a lucky number 7. It's just highly available in our memory when we're asked to make a quick, spontaneous choice.
But what's really fascinating is how fragile that preference is.
It's incredibly sensitive to context. The study found that if you ask students to pick a number between 6 and 15, 7 is not preferred anymore. 8 and 9 suddenly become more popular. It loses its special status when the goalposts move.
And anchoring is a huge factor.
A massive one. If the experimenter just mentioned 7 as an example, like pick a number, like 7, its frequency as a choice plummeted to 16.6%.
The second you make it conscious, the spontaneous magic is gone.
The preference shifts, and this is a critical point. Our sources suggest this type of spontaneous biased preference is a uniquely human cognitive trait.
You mean AI doesn't do this?
Not yet. Large language models, LLMs, they fail to show these same human-like behaviors in number games. The theory is that LLMs don't have that rich, recursive cultural anchoring that defines our own working memory. So in a way, choosing 7 is a little marker for being human.
Let's take this all inside the body's fastest machine, the brain. How does this whole quest for the optimum get processed and controlled? We have to look at the anterior cingulate cortex or the ACC.
The ACC is often called the brain's chief operating officer for decision-making. It's key for cognitive control, for representing value, and for shifting gears when things change. It's where we calculate risk and monitor our own errors.
And the regulation inside this area is handled by these very specific cells, right? These inhibitory interneurons.
Yes, like parvalbumin or PV and somatostatin or SST cells. Think of them as circuit-specific speed bumps. They regulate the network activity to keep the information flow clean and efficient.
And the timing of their action is everything.
It's exquisitely important. The researchers found that if you activate the PV interneurons in the visual cortex, but only in the early phase, like the first 120 milliseconds after you see something, it significantly improved performance performance on easy visual tasks, mostly by decreasing false alarms. The PV neurons act like an extremely rapid quality control filter right when the data comes in. It's sharpening the input before we're even fully aware of what we're seeing.
Wow. Okay, so if PV neurons are an early filter, there's another circuit that acts more like a full brake.
Exactly. Activating cluster neurons that project to the ACC, that circuit reduces impulse errors. Which sounds great, but the trade-off is that it's also correlated with higher miss rates.
So behavioral lapses. You just don't respond at all.
You don't respond. That circuit seems to restrict engagement, prioritizing extreme caution, maybe even promoting the ability to disconnect, which is linked to initiating sleep. So you have these competing mechanisms, one for rapid, clean input, and another for overall caution.
And this brings us to what might be the most powerful and honestly the most counterintuitive human optimization strategy of all.
Adaptive grandiosity, or functional overconfidence. It's a cognitive heuristic where your belief in your own ability deliberately exceeds.
This sounds incredibly risky. We're moving away from the beautiful math of the 37% rule toward a calculated delusion. Why would the brain do that?
Because it's a weapon against analysis paralysis and high uncertainty situations. This controlled delusional baseline does two things. It suppresses the amygdala's fear response that stops us from acting, and it overrides the prefrontal cortex's tendency to just endlessly calculate risks. It forces commitment.
You see this in history, in business.
All over the place. It's what sustained Steve Jobs' famous reality distortion field, where his refusal to accept technical limits forced engineers to invent the impossible. It was critical for Joan of Arc's conviction. The belief itself becomes the tool.
But there's a line, right, between this functional version and something else.
A very clear line. The sources distinguish between visionary accuracy, like Jobs, or Zaha Hadid, whose vision forced new tech into existence, and pathological delusion, like Elizabeth Holmes, which generates fraud. The difference is generative capacity. One creates the tech, the other just hides its absence.
And computationally, this imperfection actually works better than pure logic.
It does. Multi-agent simulations show that groups with mixed confidence levels, including some of this controlled grandiosity, achieve 2.3 times higher goal discovery rates than groups of purely rational agents.
So you don't want a team of purely rational actors.
You don't. The data suggests that about 15 to 25% overconfidence is a computational sweet spot. The system needs that dose of strategic conviction to keep from freezing up.
So after all this, what does it all mean? We've seen that maximizing performance requires these two fundamentally different approaches.
Right. We have to engineer absolute precision in our tools, getting rid of every variable, every system bias.
Whether it's a 49-gram mouse or a single software setting.
But then for ourselves, in our own minds, we have to strategically embrace functional shortcuts like the 37% rule, and even cognitive shortcuts like adaptive grandiosity.
The efficiency paradox is just so clear. Perfection in the machine means removing variables.
But peak human efficiency requires the strategic insertion of calculated imperfection, whether it's the statistical weight of 37% or that cognitive leap of overconfidence, just to make sure we don't get paralyzed and we actually commit to an action.
Thank you for bringing this incredibly dynamic set of sources to the table today. It's been a truly fascinating deep dive.
A pleasure, as always.
And here's a provocative thought for you to chew on. If the pursuit of technological perfection involves minimizing error, but the pursuit of peak human performance requires strategically inflating our self-efficacy to bypass paralysis, is true optimal control achieved only when you identify precisely when to trade objective accuracy for strategic conviction?